Welcome back to Harvard. Governor Sarah Palin there survived last night's debate by most accounts, perhaps with more style than substance, perhaps. But Palin did what she had to do, which was not lose. She calmed the nerves of the base and delivered for her ticket. Senator Joe Biden's steady performance and his direct answers came in sharp contrast to Palin's performance. So, was the debate a game changer or not? Pat Buchanan, MSNBC political analyst, and Democratic strategist Bob Schumer, both here to debate the debate. Pat, you thought it was great. The polling by the people, CBS and CNN at the time, found it for Joe Biden. Your thoughts the day after?
Well, I mean, Drudge found it 70-30 at 500,000. AOL found it...
For whom?
For Palin. AOL found it 500,000
But those aren't
split.
Polls. Those are just calls
emailing
in to a conservative blog site.
Frank Luntz...
we can do those.
Frank Luntz's focus group found it going for Palin. Let me tell you this, Chris. The way to judge these things is take a look at the commentators and the loyalists and things. Conservatives and Republicans are doing cartwheels last night.
Fair enough.
And a number of the liberal commentators have these grim looks. Biden won this race, you know, and you're people who are cheering. They want. Look, here's the thing: is it a game changer for Palin? It sure was.
Keith?
No, a game changer for Palin. I'm not talking about anybody on MSNBC.
Okay.
For Palin, it was a game changer.
Right.
In the election, I think it may have stopped the bleeding. A game changer in the election, no. What has hurt McCain has been these last 3 weeks of a major, serious event, almost to the order of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which stops the cars at Indianapolis.
And it's not over.
And the yellow flag goes up, and McCain's down about 5 or 6.
Story. Let me ask you, Bob, I watched it with trying to look, and I was impressed that she beat the spread dramatically, but I also was impressed by my indecision as to how people would take it. Would they take it as brilliant, perhaps almost excellent recitation of a well-coached performance? In other words, she had every speech part she needed. She answered every question brilliantly. Everything was answered like wallpaper, but there wasn't much spontaneity or originality to anything there. Or would people say, she's smart? I couldn't tell. Most people apparently thought she did okay, but Biden was better. What do you think?
I think Biden was better, and I'm not grim about it. And for Pat to be citing like the AOL poll or the Drudge poll, which is set up, and last week, by the way, showed a huge victory for McCain in that first debate, which no one credits at this point, shows us how much he wants to do cartwheels because she didn't commit a pratfall on stage. I think she did. I think she did save herself. I think she has a future in the Republican Party. Maybe she can run for the nomination in 2012. But the loser of that debate was John McCain, because in terms of the economy, in terms of health care, in terms of the big issues that matter, she made absolutely no progress for the ticket. He pulled out of Michigan yesterday. The debate was held. The electoral map is smaller. The economy is smaller, and the odds on him winning are longer and longer.
Well, let's stay on that same question Bob raised. Did she get, for her candidate, McCain, separation from President Bush? Did she achieve the strategic goal of this campaign, which is to separate itself from President Bush?
She didn't achieve it, but I don't think that is the key goal of this campaign. In this sense, Chris, they've been playing the Bush card, and McCain moved ahead by 4 points. He was winning this. The game changer is this Lehman Brothers going down, AIG, McCain saying fundamentals are sound, fire Cox, all these things happening. This is a historic event, and it's driven Bush down to 26%. The Republicans are being driven down. It is a major issue. You can't overcome that with rhetoric. She may have won the debate. I think she did terrific, sensational. Has she turned the race around? No. She may have stopped the bleeding.
Well, I'm looking ahead to the news that we may be facing a very serious recession, Bob. Not a crisis, just really bad news over a sustained period.
Right.
That tends to help the party out of power. Crises can throw people to the right or the left, but generally, isn't it true, Bob, that people tend to go to the party out of power when they don't like conditions?
I think that's true. And you also said something the other night, Chris, that I think is very right, that Obama gives this impression of calm, deliberation, someone who can go in there and under a lot of pressure maybe make the right decisions. And McCain, the last couple of weeks, has looked impulsive and erratic. So it's not only on the natural that you move toward the party out of power, it's when you look at the two candidates side by side and you say, which one would you want handling a crisis? Your answer tends to be Barack Obama. And we're seeing that in
Charles
poll after
Krauthammer,
poll.
actually. The conservative columnist said that today. He said that he is showing the temperament you need to be president as well as the intellect.
I don't disagree with that, quite frankly. I do believe Barack has been showing that, and he's playing politics. He's staying out of it and riding this wave, which is what he ought to do. And I think what McCain had to do, Chris, and didn't do, I mean, this is such a crisis. It divides the Republicans, this horrible bill. He should have come back, seized it, stopped the bailout thing, and reshaped his own package, I think, and gotten more concessions, and then won this thing. I think that's the only way.
Beating the establishment?
Yep, but put the establishment together with the populists out there of both parties who hate this thing, and that's his only. Instead, he just comes on and said, gets one little item, and then he's out on the road campaigning.
But he's up against the reality. You keep hearing that once Secretary Paulson said we need this bill, it became self-defining. We did need it. That's what I hear from smart people.
Well, yeah, we do need it, but I think they could have gotten an awful lot more. Nobody really, serious people don't believe
let's
this
talk about Tuesday night, you gentlemen. I don't get you together that often. Bob, you first. You're an expert at rhetoric and helping candidates get ready for these kinds of events. Can John McCain win on the economic field, or does he have to change it no matter what Tom Brokaw or the people bring in or the online questions Tuesday night? Does he have to change the topic to culture and to who, Obama or him, rather than what? The way things are or change. Can he change it to culture, or does he have to fight it on the economic front and win there?
Well, Pat and I will probably disagree here. He can try and change it to culture. It's not going to work. The economy is the issue. You know, every once in a while, the voters get to decide what matters in an election. And what matters is what's happening in their lives, not just what they're seeing on television, not just the stock market, but the fact that, for example, small businesses can't borrow, people are having a terrible time selling their homes. Those are the questions that are going to come in. And I think Mike Murphy, who works for MSNBC and NBC instead of working for John McCain, much to John McCain's loss, has been right all along, which is that McCain needed a positive message from the start, where he went out there and gave people the sense that he was really going to change the Bush policies and he was really going to offer them some hope. He's never done that. Random attacks.
But you know, he made his big mistake, Bob, when he said the economy is fundamentally strong. He sunk his feet into the cement of the status quo, and henceforth, from that moment forward, Carville, your old partner, made that point. Once he did that, he had to defend the way things are.
Here's his problem. He is not a culture warrior. He doesn't believe in the issues out there. He's not. Secondly, he is not a populist. Let me tell you, Chris, the issues out there in Ohio, as Hillary and Obama showed when they went out there, jobs are going overseas to China, and it's because of these darn trade deals, and people know it. But he believes on the other side of it. That's why he...
Did you see Sherrod Brown, the guy who voted for the deal yesterday?
Well, no, I did see some Democrats.
Amazing. I was surprised by that. He's like you. He's very populist, very anti.
Well, that's what wins Ohio. That'll win Pennsylvania. Kind of Central Pennsylvania, they're talking about jobs going overseas, but he's not. He doesn't believe it. And you can't do a good job at saying it if you don't believe it. And that's why he's got a real problem. If he goes back to the basic things he did with Obama, I think he won the debate.
Why are the conservatives turning on this guy? Why is everybody I read in the paper, all the thoughtful people like you, write columns and put 800 words together every 3 days? Krauthammer, David Brooks, you, Kathleen Parker, all stripes of conservatives are taking whacks at your candidate. What's going on?
Well, he's basically, John McCain and I have been on the other side of the Republican Party for years. These other guys, I don't understand.
They're all going at him. The knives are out in your party.
Well, you made a good point the other night when you said, what did they do? They had this wonderful asset in Sarah Palin, and they're not even letting her talk to Rush Limbaugh.
They're attacking her.
Yeah, and so they did a terrible job.
You saw her Rush Limbaugh
when she was herself. You saw it. You know what McCain ought to do?
Well,
get sick on Tuesday.
Let me ask you tonight one last question, Bob. What do you make of a candidate who goes into a debate and says, "I may not answer the questions that either the moderator or you want to hear"? I mean, is this working hard and playing by the rules, or what? I've never seen anybody say, I may be here, but I'm not going to play by the rules.
It was her safety net because there were questions she couldn't answer. The one you cited about, for example, the powers of the vice president was a classic case. So she was giving herself some kind of safety net. It works with the base. And I must say, by the way, listening to Pat, that he is clearly starting the Palin 2012 movement. He's written off McCain. He's moving to the future.
Palin Buchanan, maybe.
If McCain ought to get sick on Tuesday and let her go in there, the ratings would be phenomenal. It would be a roll of the dice. But do you think he can win it yourself?
She lost the debate, Pat, by double-digit margins. They asked Joe Sixpack. They asked the middle class.
Because they wanted to see Joe Biden. The country wanted to see Joe Biden. They went in every bar in America.
The conservatives are getting good. You know, Bob, the conservatives have gotten to the point now they say, we don't like the rules, we don't like the polls.
Right.
Nothing counts anymore.
She threw out the rules.
Pat was never for Buchanan.
I just wonder when we're going to believe the polls anymore under the new dispensation here.
Look, I think the reason the CBS poll is, you know why? Because the country wants to elect Obama, Biden, and they didn't change their minds. She changed some minds. She didn't change enough.
But I think you're right. There was a lot of grimacing on the left there last night.
A lot of it.
I'm not grimacing. I thought Biden did great.
But not from Bob Shrum. He was strong of jaw there. Anyway, thank you, Bob. It's great to have you on with Pat. I think you are equally qualified to offer your various views of the universe.